Hey everyone, Richard Sts here. I'm one of the devs for RHS, and today I'm going to take a look with you guys at the new content you can find in 0.4. So to start right off, we're going to start with the US forces, and one of the first things that a lot of you have definitely shown excitement to on our Facebook page is the M27 IAR, or Infantry Automatic Rifle. So for people who don't know, it looks a lot like any other AR-15, which is true. However, it has some major differences. So as an infantry automatic rifle, that means it's going to replace weapons like the M249 light machine gun. These are designed as area fire weapons, although they also incorporate precision fire capabilities. So in order to both accept traditional STANAG magazines and have some interoperability with M4 platforms, the IAR does some clever tricks. The first being it fires from an open bolt as opposed to most other AR-15s which fire from a closed bolt. That means that every time you click the trigger, the bolt reciprocates back, is driven forward to load a new round. Whereas in the IAR, like on any light machine gun or M240, the bolt stays to the rear of the weapon until the trigger is pulled again, letting the heat dissipate much faster, which allows it to serve as a squad level support weapon. It's made by HK, and it actually borrows, although it looks similar to other AR-15 weapons, it actually borrows most of its gas system from the G36. So that's the IAR. Let's take a look at something else. So this unassuming little weapon right here is the Beretta M9, obviously made by the Italian firearms maker Beretta. This is currently the issued sidearm of the US forces. Sidearms are usually carried by NCOs or officers, but obviously with conflicts like Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot more soldiers have carried sidearms simply because if your weapon is to fail in combat, having no other weapon is a very dangerous situation to be in. This weapon is due for replacement in the coming years, but for now is still the issued sidearm of the US Army, whereas the Marines are actually changing. Another weapon update you can find in RHS in this release is the AT4 as well as the SMA. So previously our AT4 model was much worse, and now luckily the guys at Task Force 47, the Launchers Pack, have kindly given us the model files for both the AT4 and the SMA. The AT4 being a shoulder-fired one-shot, so disposable medium to light anti-armor weapon. It has a variety of variants, such as a close quarters or confined spaces one, and other variety of rockets inside, whereas the SMA is a reloadable weapon that is more suitable for medium to heavy targets. It can fire a variety of munitions and mount a variety of optics, as it has a Picatinny rail, but here it's mounting the known as the SMA optic. One unique feature is it actually has in-game working as well a M9 tracer round that is used for ranging. So basically the gunner estimates the range of the target, fires the 9mm tracer round, which he watches the path of that, and if it hits the projected location, then he's more confident when he fires the rocket that he can actually hit the target to achieve a first round kill. So that is accurately recreated, and it's definitely pretty cool. Alright, we're going to bypass the M113 for just a second so I can show you one more weapon for the US forces. So the AN M14 Incendiary Grenade was actually added a lot of releases ago, but it didn't work properly. It had a very default effect, which was mostly ineffective, although it was quite prone to killing infantry, although usually friendlies. The dev team did some awesome work on creating a more thermite looking effect, and also it is much more devastating as a weapon. So in my previous recording that you won't see because I deleted, I completely failed to destroy that technical there with the AN M14, but we're going to try it again because hopefully I can get it under the vehicle this time. But regardless, if it works or not, it does work. You'll see the effect. I have thrown it under the truck. Amazing. Well, as you can see, it's got a very nice thermite effect. It does work, although it's quite a precise weapon. In real life, you'd have a lot less difficulty trying to place a incendiary grenade under an object. But there you go. All right, the M113 here also received a important and, in my opinion, very cool update. So first of all, the rear ramp, just like on the M2A3 and M2A2 Bradleys, can now be opened and closed on demand. And as well, when you board and exit the vehicle, that also enters the ramp if it's closed. So we're going to get in the back here because that's not quite what I want to show. So a recent update to the firing from vehicle system now means that we can do some very cool stuff with allowing passengers to turn out. So here we are, we're sitting in the back just like a normal passenger. However, we can now scroll wheel as a passenger to turn out, and essentially now if I had a weapon, which I don't have one on me, we can provide rear security or additional SA for the commander of the vehicle while it's moving. Obviously, you sacrifice some protection in this respect, but nonetheless, I think it's a really cool add-on, and it's especially helpful for people who play Milsim, because a lot of times when you're sitting in the back of a Bradley or M113, it's very difficult to tell what's going on, and this is a great way to gain some SA while conducting, say, an infantry attack with vehicles. Alright, another add-on that certainly some of you are probably excited about is the USMC's CH-53. So this is a heavy lift helicopter, I would say. It's obviously it's absolutely massive. It's a model where it's also shared between the community to upgrade projects, so check them out if you're interested on that regard. Although we did some modifications to this. Right now, we didn't do too much on it. I think in the future we're definitely going to improve some of the interior detail, but it's certainly fully functional, and especially the cockpit is very playable. Alright, one more change I'm going to look at before we go over to the Russian side is static weapons. So thanks to Rayhard's static weapon pack, he donated some of his ported static weapons, such as the tow launcher, the Stinger sort of man pads configuration, and two indirect fire weapons. So here we have the M119, sorry, howitzer. It is a 105 field gun, towed howitzer, obviously, still used by the USMC, but not by the Army, I believe. As recent conflicts have shown us different howitzers, such as the M777, which can be equipped with electronic firing systems, which give it much greater accuracy, and also the 155 round packs a much bigger punch. And also is the very reliable and trusty M252 81mm mortar. This is obviously a mainstay of the U.S. forces. It's still used today. It's quite a powerful weapon and still infantry portable. Alright, so I know some of you see those jets in the background. We'll save those for last here, and we'll go check out the Russian forces. Alright, so you've probably previously seen this. We launched our 0.3 release, I believe, with this. This is the Gaz Tiger. It is the Russian Humvee, as you might call it. It is a lightly armored. It is resistant to most small arms fire. A utility vehicle that can fulfill a variety of roles for the Russian army that is just starting to enter service. However, in 0.4, this vehicle gets two very important new versions, so let's take a look. So the first here is the Gaz Tiger M. So as you can see, it has a different hood design. I believe this is because it's packing a different power pack. The original had an American Cummins engine. I believe the Tiger M actually has a Russian designed engine, although do not quote me on that. So the Tiger M here also has some other significant changes. Notably, it mounts a turret. And also the doors are now animated on all Gaz variants. So we're up in the hatch here of the Tiger. The Tiger M currently doesn't mount any weapons. However, due to firing from vehicles, you can still obviously use your personal weapon. And you also now, with that firing from vehicles update, like I said in the M113, we can do a similar thing where the gunner can actually turn in on the Tiger M. Alright, and now the one you've probably been most excited for. This is the Gaz Tiger Sts, which is the armored version. It's quite a fearsome vehicle, mounting both a PKM as well as the AGS-17 grenade launcher. So let's go ahead and take a look at it from the outside quickly. So as you can see, both weapons are mounted on a ball turret on top, and all the things attached to the side rails are antennas. So there's actually a lot of work done to this vehicle. We had to do a lot of interior remodeling. The seat configuration in the back, as well as all the ammo needed for both weapons, is stored in unique ways. Alright, so we're sitting in the back of the Tiger STS. As you can see, all the ammunition storage has been modeled, including all of the anti-tank weapons that are also stored inside the vehicle. So definitely a lot of ammunition stored inside this. Up in the gunner seat here, we're mounted up on the AGS-17. So as you can see, we're properly mounted on the AGS, and if we switch to the PK, then it actually flips our animation over. We've had awesome custom animations done so that you actually look properly in the turret and not like a damn fool. Alright, so that's a look at the Russian vehicles. Let's take a look at some of their equipment and weapons. Alright, so we can't really get by with a day on our Facebook page without someone requesting the Gorka uniform. So finally, the Gorka is in the game. The Gorka M, as many of you requested, is still in the works. That's the version with camouflage and other changes, which I don't know about. I'm not an expert in Russian equipment. I don't know why so many people request this. I think it's cool, but to me, it looks like most other uniforms. That's no discredit to the model maker. The model, especially the artificial creasing, looks very good in my opinion, but I don't know. It just looks like another set of combats to me, but anyone who requested it, you're welcome. So also on this soldier here is the also hotly requested AS Val, which is a subsonic ammunition suppressed weapon used by Russian Special Forces and other units. So right now the AS Val comes in two versions. It has a version which is this one, which has the traditional Russian side-mounted optics, and we also have another version which uses an adapter to a Picatinny rail so that you can mount Western optics. Also, we've added the VDV desert uniforms. So these uniforms are obviously we only had the summer pattern previously. These are now available for the VDV. In addition to that, we've also added the AK-103, 104, and 105 weapons. As you can see, the soldier here is carrying the AK-103 with, I don't know a lot about Russian weapons, whatever optic I chose. 1P29 maybe? I can't remember. So anyways, just like the AS Val and most of our other Russian weapons, there's versions with the traditional side mount optics, GP25 grenade launcher, and there's also versions with the Picatinny rail adapter so that you can mount Western style optics like EOTechs, excuse me, for example. And finally, to get your Soviet side on and pretend it's 1981 and you're back in Afghanistan with all your Afghani friends, this is the... And finally, so you can pretend this is 1981 again, or far earlier, and pretend you're back in the hills of Afghanistan, but not as the Americans. The SSH 682 helmet has been added. The classic Soviet helmet, which I believe was introduced in the 1960s. I don't have too much to say about this. It doesn't provide a lot of protection. It's quite a basic design, but nonetheless, that's now in the game, so enjoy. Alright, now to finish this video here, I want to show something that's definitely been hotly anticipated, I would say, by most people here who are following our Facebook. The two powerhouses of the Russian and United States Air Forces, the F-22 Raptor, as well as the Sukhoi T-50 or PAK-FA. So we'll start with the F-22 Raptor here. The Raptor is a multi-role stealth fighter, or it incorporates some stealth technology. It is incredibly expensive. It is only produced by the US. They will not sell it to any other countries, and it is widely considered to be, although its capabilities are relatively unknown, a incredibly powerful stealth fighter jet. So we'll get in the cockpit here. Unfortunately, in this stream, I'm not going to fly it. I have no idea how, and I'd probably just crash immediately. Not to mention, I've parked a jet in front of it. Alright, so we're on board the F-22 here. As you can see, pretty good virtual cockpit. Incorporates a good amount of detail, and the multifunction, the HUD, sorry, does work. Other features of the F-22, of course, landing gear are all animated. The deployment of the weapon systems is also animated, and we have produced our own custom missiles for this to make them more believable rather than shooting the default Arma 3 objects. Alright, the last but certainly not is the Soviet T-50, as it is called in its currently experimental status. As you can see, this jet clearly borrows some design cues, to say the least, from the F-22, although it is, of course, of very different design. It also is a multi-role fighter, which also incorporates some stealth technology. There's two liveries of this right now in different tail numbers. There's this digital camo scheme, as well as a naval-based one. So as you can see, this one also has just been beautifully modeled by the RHS team, and also we'll take a look at the really detailed cockpit. There's also a custom animation for boarding, which is also pretty cool. Okay, so we're on board the T-50, PAK-FA, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, the interior is incredibly detailed. I'm actually very impressed with the work, especially on the textures around these informational cards, all the buttons, the multifunction displays. We will power on real quick just to see. Alright, so the MFDs are on. As you can see, even down to a map of Altus, it's all very detailed and certainly very functional, including the backup, not altimeter, artificial horizon. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you now for the Point 4 update. Keep checking the Facebook. There's definitely more stuff on the way for both sides. I know I'm personally hard at work on some projects which I've revealed a little bit about on the Facebook, so please check back and enjoy the release, and have a good one.